Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have the participation of the head of state at the 13th summit of the Arab Leagues in Tunis. For the international scene, Israel reopens crossing point after 6 days of closure. Welcome to our newsroom. The work of the 13th Arab Summit began today in Tunis with the participation of several Arab leaders, including the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh. The opening sessions of this annual summit, chaired by the President of the Tunisian Republic, Beji Caid Essebsi, in the presence of the King Salman bin Abdulaziz of Saudi Arabia, President of the previous sessions of the summit, as well as the Emir of Kuwait and the President of Egypt and Libya, the President of Palestine state. The ceremony of the opening of this summit also saw the participation of the Secretary General of the Arab League, the Secretary General of the United Nations, the Secretary General of the Organizations of Islamic Cooperation, the Chairman of the Commissions of the African Union, as well as the High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy. Arab leaders will discuss in camera the appropriate response to U.S. President Donald Trump's decisions to recognize Israel sovereignty over the Syrian Golan Heights occupied by such Aviv since 1967. This the Palestinian questions and the Arab-Israel conflict, as well as the latest development in the Syrian, Yemeni, and Libyan area, as well as supporting the peace and development process in Sudan and Somalia. The fight against international terrorism will also be the great records of this summit. It should be noted that the Arab peoples are impatiently awaiting the results of this summit, which is taking place in a very complex Arab context. As usual, in addition to his participation in the work of the Pan-Arab organizations, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, will hold talks with several of his counterparts, head of state and government, participating as he has done the 13th summit of the Arab League. An important delegation, including the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, accompanied by the head of state in the context of this trip to Tunisia. To note also the presence within the delegations led by the head of the Djibouti state in Tunisia and the ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti to the Arab Republic of Egypt and permanent representative of our country in the League of Arab, Mr. Mohammed, His Excellency Mohammed Duhur Hersi, and from the ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti to the French Republic, non-resident ambassador of our country to the Tunisian Republic, His Excellency Ayad Mus'ad Yahye. For his part, the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, took the floor and explains for the importance of this meeting at the Arab League level. Listen to the head of state.
First and foremost, I would like to express my sincere gratitude and appreciation to the presidents of Tunisia, Beji Caid Essebsi, as well as his government and his people for their hospitality and the remarkable preparations they have made for this summit. I would like also to express my heartfelt gratitude to the guardian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud of Saudi Arabia, for his remarkable effort and the work accomplished during his presidency of last year's summit. Thank you also to the Arab League State Secretary General for his considerable effort in organizing this important meeting. We are meeting today at a time when the Arab region is facing an extremely delicate and unprecedented situation, at a time when our region is facing major challenges in the face of major threats to peace, security, stability, and development in our countries. Indeed, our responsibility is very great, in order to prevent the deteriorations of the Arab situation and to face the escalations of crisis and the growing risk our countries are facing. This requires effective solutions that enable us to address the cause and consequence of these crises. In this regard, we are called upon to unify our effort, achieve the required coordination, face change, and put in place effective mechanisms to achieve the desired objectives, particularly the maintenance of the Arab national security and the construction of a better future that meets the hopes of our people and prevent any interference in our internal affairs. Ladies and gentlemen, we must reaffirm the centrality of the Palestinian question within the Arab nations and the right of the state of Palestine to sovereignty over all its territories occupied until 1967, including East Jerusalem. At the same time, we stress the need to resolve the Arab-Israeli conflict in accordance with the resolution of the international legitimacy and the Arab peace initiatives of 2002, including concerning the Syrian case. We affirmed the need for a political solution that will put an end to the crisis while meeting the aspirations of the Syrian people and guaranteeing Syria unities, the preservation of its sovereignty and independence. We affirm our firm position to the Golan, which is occupied, in accordance with all resolutions of international legitimacy that clearly indicate that it is not permitted to seize the territory of others by force. In this regard, we reiterate the importance of a comprehensive political solution to the Libyan crisis and the commitments to the outcomes of the dialogue sponsored by the Special Representative of the United Nations Secretary General. It is also necessary to begin to unify state institutions, the end of state division, and achieve stability in order to preserve Libya unity and social cohesion. Regarding the situation in Yemen, we reaffirm our full support for constitutional legitimacy under the chairmanship of Presidents Abdurrabbu Mansour Hadi, as well as our support for the effort of the Special Envoy of the United Nations Secretary General to relaunch the political process on the basis of agreed terms and reference. In the same context, we reiterate our full solidarity to the Republic of Somalia and the Republic of Sudan and express our support for their efforts to establish security and stability in order and to address economic and development challenges. Your Majesties, Excellencies, and Highness, today we are at the crossroad and we have historical responsibility to get the region out of its crisis and protect it from the danger of terrorism, violence, and problem that threatens. We must assume this heavy responsibility, and this can only be achieved through sincere determination, the mobilization of all energies, and the assumptions of control. In this context, we must spare no effort to keep the promise we made and make it happen. We hope that the Tunis Summit will be a new beginning for our common work, taking into account the wisdom of the Tunisian brothers to achieve the desired result and to give impetus to collective Arab actions.
On the sidelines of his participation in the 13th Arab Summit in Tunis, the President of the Republic, Ismail Magelle, met this afternoon with the Sudanese Vice President, Ministers of Defense, General Awad Mohammed Ahmed bin Auf. At the beginning of his meeting, General Mohammed Ahmed Awad delivered the head of state and messages from his Sudanese counterpart, Omar Hassan Ahmed al-Bashir, on relations between the two countries and ways to strengthen and consolidate mutual cooperation between Djibouti and Khartoum in various facts. The President of the Republic raised with the Sudanese Vice President the agenda of this summit, of the Arab Summit, which is being held this year at times when the Arab countries are going through exceptional circumstances. The Minister of Foreign Affairs International Cooperation, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, Djibouti, and the representative of the permanent representative for to the United Nations, ambassador of our country in Cairo, Mohammed Hersi, and the ambassador of Djibouti to Tunisia with the returns accommodation in Paris. Yahya attend this meeting. The President of the Republic met with the Secretary General of the United Nations, Ismail Omar Guelleh, took the opportunity to participate in this 13th sessions of the Councils of Arab League State at the summit level in order to hold important discussions with the Arab leaders and international leaders attending this annual conference. In this regard, the President of the Republic met with the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. During this meeting, the President of the Republic and the Secretary General of the United Nations discussed the most important topics of the annual summit in Tunisia. Both sides also reviewed the latest development in the Arab and international context and ongoing effort to find effective solutions to the crisis affecting some countries at the Arab and global levels. The Secretary General of the United Nations has welcomed Djibouti's effort under the leadership of the President of the Republic to establish security and stability in the Horn of Africa. The Minister of Foreign Affairs for International Cooperation, Mohamed Ali Yusuf, and the Ambassador of Egypt and the Ambassador of Djibouti to Tunisia with residents from France participate in this meeting between the President of the Republic and the United Nations Secretary General. From its acronym Djibouti Space of Reflections and Exchanges organized this morning, a discussion is on the potential and challenges of entrepreneurship in Djibouti in a places and that lend itself well, which is not as the incubation centers in World 6 with the invitations of the Minister of Finance and Economy, Ilyas Moussa Dawale, enlightened young people from all sides which only one idea how to undertake the ways and means to bring the spirit and the force entrepreneurship. There is a space of interactions which carries in its nucleus this approach that any worthy idea deserves to be propagated in order to put forward the information, but also its sharing, and above all to communicate on cultural, thematic, economic and social to get the best, but also to educate these days was also to interrupt the members that to wait before any questions of mentality to be an actor of his own strong telling. And finally, a series of questions and answers was held to close the days that brought this fruit. The ministers in a team of the one. For his part, the Ministers of Finance, Ilyas Moussa Dawale, in a team of one-man talk, pointed out the charges of mentality, but by the transformative leadership in Arab Anabolic. To achieve big changes, he enlightened the main drivers for entrepreneurship to play a catalytic role in the country's growth. As part of the school integrations of children with disability, mental autism and trisomy, the MENFOP, in collaboration with the State Secretary for Social Affairs, organized a training seminar for trainees and some volunteers of the associative environment started March 29th and will continue until April 4, 2019. The centers of children with special needs, this training for 20 and so teachers specialized and delivered by well-equipped educators, which consist in detecting children with disability, aim to move toward a more inclusive school able to adapt to the specific needs of children with special needs, because every child with a disability is a people's right also to strengthen the education of children with special needs and to improve in the futures of educational management through a better diagnosis of children's disability, learning about these vulnerable children in order to get them to school, because they are very often discriminated against because their disability. The visit took place in the presence of the Ministers of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, the Secretary of State for Social Affairs, Mona Osman Aden, the Director of Schools, Mr. Idris Momin Abdi, the Director of National Disability Agency, Mr. Duale Said, and Ramia Saif Abdul Hafiz, the teachers, and other executive. It is in this context that multidisciplinary teams of the Minister of National Education Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, explains in his speech that this meeting is important at the national level. In fact, professionals have consulted and evaluated more than 60 children in order to better understand the situations of children with disability and to select those likely to continue their education. The Secretary of State for Social Affairs, Mona Osman Aden, stressed in his speech that these kinds of trainings, 36 students are currently attending these schools. According to the overall evaluations by the trainees, palpable changes in behavioral and educational level at the learning level. Following the internal controls of the intents, the National Social Security Fund detected on Thursday, March 29th, the fraudulent editions of 137 school social security cards in a spirit of transparency toward its affiliate. The CNSS lodged a complaint with the gendarmerie to identify the perpetrators of these facts. In this context, 4 CNSS agents were detained following the first element of the investigations. After questioning the agents in questions were brought before the court today. For this case, the CNSS has been intransigent in prosecuting the perpetrators of these facts, which are detrimental to our social security system, the foundations of national solidarity. The CNSS has therefore made it its duty to inform its affiliate and to preserve their right in all circumstances. With this in mind, the impacted right will be restored to the original beneficiaries. In addition, a new control mechanism has been put in place to put an end to these types of offenses. It should be remembered that the sustainability of social gains is everyone's business. It is therefore incumbent on each of us to preserve it. The Asagaila Youth Association is cleaning up schools in these localities of Asagaila and Uranga and Girori to support the My Schools, the project My Schools for Me project, initiated by the Ministry of Education, National Education and Vocational Training. After completing the cleanup, the ICHIA Association is distribute mosquito nets to protect the villager against malaria in 2 localities, Asagaila and Girori. Many local peoples, elders, parents and teacher peoples and villagers will participate in crowds in this event and supported the associations on the actions they took. As with other regions and the capital of our region, the entire educational community of Dakhil has strongly mobilized to organize the second Children Citizens Day established by the Ministry of National Education. The educational community to know the parents, students and teachers of each schools carried out cleanup and maintenance work in the classrooms and around the schools. Delegations composed of civil and military authorities, including the prefect, the president of the regional council, the head of the army of Dakhil, parliamentarian and the head of the educational department of Dakhil. The notables have crisscrossed schools to participate in this civic days, which is organized on last Saturdays of each month. The objective of this day being to involve parents first in school life to develop and promote the spread of the privileged partnership among the parents of students in order to be able to concretize the civic, democratic and inclusive schools renowned for a quality education to instill in the mentality of the entire educational community the sense of belonging and promote the identifications of the schools to develop good students to set up in this innovative perspective that the MENFOP breathes new life into introducing changes of behavior in order to preserve a healthy, clean and enjoyable learning environment for our children. As part of the fight against smuggling, drug trafficking to police of Ali Sabih detachments or in collaboration with Ali Sabih Customs yesterday says large quantity of cannabis such as the borders of Galilee. This important commodity containing dozens of pockets filled with cannabis was allegedly smuggled by smugglers in the city of Ali Sabih. According to the standards procedures in forces, the amount was destroyed in the presence of the head of the Brigade of Customs and Ali Sabih, Mr. Idris Ahmed Bulhan, and the chief of the brigade of the police brigade of detachment of Ali Sabih, Mr. Ibrahim, the prefect, and the regionalist, Mr. Mohammed Wabil Asri, congratulate the agents of the customs as well as the police who fight day and night against any forms of smuggling. For the international scene, Israel reopens cross points after 6 days of closures. Listen to this report. This is it for today's news. Thanks for watching us.